Hey everyone, this is Tracy with Color Me This. Welcome to the Daily Color, and welcome back if you are returning. This is where I color a little bit every day, and I color with you guys. So today we are continuing on in Romantic Country, which is what I call my big version of the Daily Color. It is always so interesting. I'm continuing on from what we were doing yesterday, so we don't lose time. So I'm just fussing with these pots while I do the intro. And in my hand, I do have Brutfuner 24. So anyhow, this is episode 251 if I haven't already mentioned it. I'm trying to do this big version of the Daily Color a couple times a week. I find, as I was starting to mention, I find it so interesting after spending so much time in Small Victories, which I've been coloring in almost every day since the end of March. And I started that book with you guys. So that book is dedicated 100% to the Daily Color, start to finish, rotating through all of my pencil sets. So it has been such an experience. I don't know if I've mentioned it recently, but it is officially my first coloring book that I have ever colored in. I have done a lot of coloring pages and printed off on my printer pages and colored that way for many years. And but my primary coloring background is doing the animal and nature type portrait drawing with the professional pencils, doing tutorials. I've done a couple of drawings for friends. I am retired. I don't know if I've mentioned that recently. So I retired I have a back injury, and as soon as I finally went through the struggles of trying to get back some of my life and fitness back, I then retired from my job, and we have been traveling. We traveled in a fifth wheel for 7 years, I think a little under 7 years if I'm calculating correctly. And for the first 6 months, we actually lived at my mom's while I finished out my year of work, because that's how bonuses at that, it's a big company, and bonuses are paid out for, they call it performance based. See, this is all getting old news for me now. So performance based bonuses at this company, which are not the same as just the normal bonus that everybody gets. You have to be there the full year to get it. They have a way to make sure they lock you in. So you have to follow the rules, and I did, so that was nice. And traveled for many years, then chose a place to move to. Totally different. Well, I say totally different, but it's really not. The same, but yet very different. What I found traveling around was that I was just not inspired. I knew I wanted a warm climate, but I also knew that we needed to be near water, because I grew up in the Puget Sound, so water is very important to both my husband and I. We tried the dry climate. We tried, like Arizona and California, and so we did come here in the first year that we traveled and loved it, and this is where we kept coming back to. So here we are. We live in Florida, and it is hot and humid, and my back loves it. So here I am today now, a more fit version of me, probably more fit than I've been in my entire life, but it comes at a cost, because my back is really not designed for the activities that I do with it. So the nice thing is this community has all of these activities here in it, and I can ride my bike everywhere. So everything about my life is geared toward helping my back be the best that it can be, given what it's been through. While we were talking, I switched back to my lightest color, which is like that terracotta color, and that's number 25. I have to start 3 more pots on a different shelf, and then I'm going to move off to work on the ivy. So my game plan for this page is to finish the pots. I have one more little colorful, well, coloring element on the shelves that I have figured out. I may or may not do that. It's just really minor. But I have the pencils out. So I have the cool thing about these pencils. They are square. These are the Brutfuner squares. I can put them on my table and they don't roll off. I can't tell you how many times with a round pencil I'm working with you guys, we're coloring, and I have them over here and they fall. Or I try to put them in the Lazy Susan and they fall. And because of their round shape, most of the pencils that I color with are round. They roll off and they fall, and then I have to go look underneath the recliners to find them. So I'm just using ovals here, trying to brighten up. I see a lot of tooth. I'm trying to make sure I have enough pigment down because I do have a light color picked out to burnish these. I am hesitant to burnish them quite yet because the flowers are small and they kind of self-burnished, but I think I'm going to, given my style where I like to build up the page and not go 100% in each area, because then I'm committed to going that deep of a color for the whole page. So I kind of like to get, say, 3/4 of the intensity of color that I want, see if there's any areas that need to be tweaked, and then I will do the final burnishing with either a blender pencil, like a colorless blender, a white, or the lightest color in whatever color combo I'm doing. And I do not use any solvents or anything like that. It's always the pencil or a colorless blender. I don't even though I own them, I do not use alcohol marker blending pens, or there's a couple of water-based blending pens, and I don't tend to use those either. So I'm going to call that chunk of pots done so that we can move to the next shelf. And the middle shelf has 3 pots. Again, this is a giant book. I'm not really sitting in the recliner. I'm not well equipped to handle all the size. I think it's like 10 by 10. And so because I just finally bought a piece of furniture here after 2 years using like this decorative thing, it's a little suitcase with it has nice antique writing on it. It's all distressed. It's very cool looking, but as a side table, it was not very functional for me, and I finally committed to purchasing a real table. So the 3 little pots here are going to be just like the terracotta pots above them, and I am starting with the lightest color first. Just doing some soft ovals. I do want the look to be terracotta clay-like, which is a pretty smooth, it's porous, so a little bit of the tooth actually is not bad, but it is a fairly smooth ceramic surface, not shiny, not matte. And then I always wonder when I color a bigger image and I'm doing either half of it or part of it one day, part of it the next, will I remember what I did? Will I be able to replicate it? So I call this episode 251. I already have another episode that's 251, and that is my second half of my haul video. But, you know, it took too long. I was swatching But the supplies that I did acquire are supplies that everybody has known and seen. They're only new to me. So I didn't want it to take an hour. Then at the very end, I kind of closed out and I was done. And I looked to the side and I do have a coloring book. And I'm like, oh, I forgot to mention that. I had it aside because I want to do a walkthrough of it, or a flip through as they are called. And I forgot to even mention it because that's the flip through will be another quick video. You know, it's funny, anybody who wants to do a coloring channel, there's no way that I would ever hear a colorist doing a coloring channel say, I just don't have enough content. I don't know what to video. Because it's just like an endless thing. You could video every single part of your day, your coloring life, because it is all related to things other people would want to know. I find with card making that's not the case. I guess, I mean, maybe because I've done card making so long, there's the little nuance things, the details, they just, I guess I gloss over them, maybe. I do have one video that I do every month that is very fun for me, and I'm really an analytical person, and I like to evaluate different options. It's just kind of the way I am, and I like to write spreadsheets and different things. So that particular aspect of card making has still been fun for me, and I will be probably doing those videos forever. But other aspects of card making have become, I guess, just like, I don't know, like brushing your teeth in the morning. They're just things that I'm like, no, nobody wants to see that video. But for me, I guess it's the joy of something, a new hobby, even though I've done it for years. It just feels fresh and new. I can't even really explain why I enjoy it so much. By the way, I switched from 25, which is or 24. 25 I put down. That's the lightest one. And I picked up 22 and 24, and I am playing around with those to darken up the shadows. And this one's way darker. So I will be very careful with this one. So, one of the things that, if you're doing videos, I do admire people who come on and they're like, I am moving on. I am no longer going to be doing this kind of video because it really isn't, in my heart, it's not my thing. I don't feel a calling to it anymore. And bless those people, because that is me in a way. But one aspect of card making still appeals so much to me that I'm still doing it, and I haven't felt that I needed to make that video. Instead, I'm just moving on and doing the coloring at the same time, because the other video channel does not need that much attention. Because again, to me, you know, the basics of card making is just no longer the thing that intrigues me, makes me tick. And that is what coloring now does for me. I don't even know, you know, as I walk through this journey and I stretch my skills and I try new things, I still am just completely drawn to pencils. I know there's a lot of people who are very well versed in the different background styles, using ink tints and watercolor and pastels and crayons, gel sticks, and I own all those things, and I do use them for card making. That's the one nice thing, that most of my materials cross over to either craft, but I have just really just love to color. call me crazy. And Hub, who pushed me, he's the one who pushed me to transition from swatching and organizing and logging and all of the different things that I did to actually coloring with my pencils consistently. More than just a really complicated, I'll have something over on my drafting table, and it might be on my drafting table for a month or two. I have the English bridle is over there. And that to me is a different kind of drawing. I actually find it a little bit stressful because I am striving to make something look like something else. Basically, I have a photo and I'm trying to replicate the photo as best I can. In some cases, I might have not a very good quality photo, so I have to make a tweak to it. So then there's the added stress of I can't just copy the photo. I have to do the tweak that I'm supposed to do. Maybe I'm putting it on a special paper, putting it on black, and that's it. So all of that is very stressful. And I feel that coloring in a coloring book, you have the aspect of the paper being somewhat out of your control. And so there is that challenge, where if I print off the coloring image on my own paper, that element isn't like a wild card, because I'll know the paper and know how to deal with it. But I just really enjoy coloring. The other thing in life that was for all of my life, my thing I did, I can tell my lines are a little different today, doing the whole compare and contrast one section to the next, but I'll keep working it. Riding horses. I was in love with horses since I was 5 years old. My parents were silly, and they did get me a horse when I was 11. And it taught me so many things as a child growing up, pretty much living at the barn, how to get myself to the barn, how to buy the saddle that I wanted, I paid for the horse. From 11 on, I had the responsibility of this giant creature that I had to keep them housed and fed, and shoeing and vet bills and all of that stuff. And I did 4-H, so I learned a lot about having something that you love and how to live a life that you get to do the things that you love. So this is me doing what I love. I actually have to thank my husband too, because he is the one who pushed me to take it to the next level. All right, so that was 22, and I believe 24 is the darker. So I'm going to go in here, add some shadows, and we're going to move on. If you haven't colored with me for long, I will just say I am a slow colorist. I have the one thing that you learn in doing animal portraits and nature drawings is, and you're doing, realism, is you learn that speed is not the key. And I never got into using base coats, undercoating, and I have all of the materials to do it. I just don't want to. I enjoy the whole pencil experience. So this is my darkest color. I can see, you can see both, and there is a vibrancy because I went back through with the lightest color to bring out that terracotta. So I am toying with, we're going to go back to 25. 25 is the lightest, And I will be brightening this up. Oh, and it's burnishing on me now, I can see. So I need to stay. When it starts to burnish and you're not ready yet, just lighten your pressure, be very careful. These are not as sensitive like color. When they're ready to burnish, and they're ready to burnish really fast, it's really tricky to keep them from burnishing so that you can add more and more and more layers. All right. I want to get onto this very tiny little. I was playing with the colors. So there's this color, 64. And I guess I'd call them kind of taupe-ish, and 67. So these are sitting here because I was playing with the labels basil, dill, hops, and then there's these little seed bags. And so I have determined, and I even have one more color to work with them. And I believe you can see this. So anyhow, that's my soapbox for the day, is the loving what I do and doing what I love. So this morning after the, so Hurricane Helene came by on the west coast side of Florida. I'm on the east coast side, or the Atlantic side. It came through really fast too. And we had just some rainy, squally weather, wind, rain, throughout the afternoon and evening. And then later in the evening, it just kind of died away. And this morning it was very quiet and humid. We went outside. I have some really tall plants that are tall and skinny, and they had fallen over, and I just had to kind of put them back up, prop them. One of them has a stick, a very tall stick, kind of guiding it, because it already tried to like fall over, and so it's got this little cute kink at the top of it. And we're talking tall. They're both taller than me. And then the one by the door, when I put it back up, I actually leaned it against a hanging pot above it. That it is now, I think it's taller than the hanging pot. So these are just to make the signs look aged. I have not decided these little canisters, what they're going to be. Are they going to be metal, like a tin, or are they going to be colored? I have some new metallic supplies that when I get back to my video, I have to decide if I'm going to splice it. For me, it's easier if I just go straight through, and I will redo a video if it's bumpy enough or I don't like it enough. I'll just do it over. Trying to splice together a video that isn't put together the way you had in mind. Oh, hey, look at that. Shoot. So here are the 3 labels. I colored them exactly like the seed packs, but you didn't get to see it because I was just off talking. And this is actually, so we had the taupe colors, a light one and a medium one, and then this is a creamy color, 69. It is a lovely color, and I actually want to use it eventually to do the burnishing of these copper pots when the time comes. So this cream is going to get used a lot. It'll probably be used on the wicker elements. The next thing I have out, I have greens, and I have, well, I had purple. The 3 purples I might have put back. Yes, I put them back. So I want to start with the purples. So tomorrow, thinking ahead, is going to be back to small victories, because I will have done this twice this week, and I want to finish the page. I don't like finishing the week with partially done pages. So that is going to be a project, because I have to color match to the light fast. And I already had these colors out. So I am going to shift, I believe for me, move my water out of the way. I will have to deal with the spine, but we always have to deal with our spine. I'm going to try to get this somewhere in the middle here. Oops. Sometimes it's challenging. What I want to do is make these floral, they kind of could be grapes, but they're not grape shaped. So I am turning them into like a wisteria, which is my favorite hanging vine. And I'm using 3 purples. Purple into like a lavender, a cold blue lavender. So let's look at these 3. The barrels don't really line up with their colors, as you will see. So it's 99, 63, and 19. And I am starting with 19 to get some of the shading and the shadows in. I am upside down, by the way. It's just easier for me to get to this content at the top if I just rotate it around. So these look like hearts to me, but I realize they are upside down, hanging down hearts. And I have my greens picked. The other fun step with the coloring of this is that I have my background, which is a stencil, a brick stencil. I've done the mock-up, I've shared it with you, and I just have to decide when I'm going to commit to it. It will be done with pencils. So these are just so, well, they're small. They're nondescript. So I'm doing small ovals now with this middle tone to smooth out the dark grape color. But I'm not going to be making them look like anything in particular. They're just little purple floral bits. So I will be coming back. The lightest color is 99. I just finished with the middle color. This is not very sharp, so I'm going to sharpen it. So the colors for the tools, the gardening tools, are probably going to be fairly neutral with, you know, like silver, gray metal, iron colored, and wood, as we've got wood handles. I have not decided the tones of the shelves, but I'm thinking aged wood, so pretty dark. And I'm going super soft at the ends of these flowers. This is really good paper, by the way. I don't even think I've mentioned the paper. And I love the sepia toned print, or the ink that they chose. It just adds to the whimsy. I do wish, just because I'm used to the small victories, that the line work was not as heavy, but I just have to deal with it. All right, so that is going to be the look for my wisteria. And let's get going on some greens. And then I have to decide if I want to go away and do the rest of the ivy or vine on my own as homework, or if I should color it with you. And because I'm now going to be back over to work in the small victories for probably tomorrow, and then early next week, we have color number 79 is the dark. Here are the three. They are from the colors that I used on the potted plants. So 42, 81, 79. Starting with the dark. I'm not really sure the game plan of these leaves, so I'm going to be exploring a little bit. And then we'll get into a groove once I figure out my final game plan for coloring them. Right now, this one, I am adding some veining. As you can see, this 79, it does not actually get really dark on this paper. So we will see if I add another layer later if it will darken up. I'm moving to the middle tone, 81. So I'm thinking of getting your input. I'm going to do a poll. It's just going to be a yes or no. Would you like to see me color all of the ivy in real time, or do you want me to go away and do it as homework? So that's kind of what I like about the big series. I have more time because I only do it a couple times a week, where the daily color is just got to keep moving, got to keep coloring, can't slow down. Like I said, I love analytic details. I am a detail person. So having projects that I get to share with you that I don't get to do my normal analysis paralysis tendency, which is the small victories. I just get in there and we get it done, and I don't judge myself on it. If I don't do the best work, it's okay. You know, it's practicing and trying new things, all while doing it all in real time with you guys. So I want to do a good job always. So I switched on you to the lightest green, which is 42. So that leaf, I like it. It has some details. Look, I have a few crumbs. My big thing I do not like is crumbly, messy pencils. And these can be crumbly, but they usually are only for certain colors and typically not light green. All right, so let's continue on. So the other question, when I get to where I'm close to doing the brick background, which I'm going to share with you because I have it sitting right here. So here is the brick mock-up. So I could do that with you guys, or I could do all the line work off to the side, and I'm going to let you guys decide. Because I'm happy either way. And I just think it's, if I do what I want to do, it's not necessarily going to give me the best challenge. And I want to challenge you guys. Sorry, I don't want to challenge you guys. I want to challenge myself. All right, So this is back to that dark. I even want to see if I can, I told you guys that I thought once there was a base of color I could come in and darken. As a rule, now having many sets of pencils and many different sizes of sets, as in pencil count, a 120 set does not typically go into the dark enough darks nor the light lights. In fact, I think it's crazy, but I almost like a 72 set, because a 72 set, I do not have expectations for what colors I should be provided. I'm kind of more like, wow, look at that, they have a nice light blue. How did they manage that in a 72 set? So where 120 is a very common size, considered to be a very complete set size, so I've moved from the dark to the middle tone. And then typically a 120 does not go deep into the darks, or if they do, they only have certain color families that they've chosen are the important ones to have go very dark and or very light. I have shifted again to the light color, which is 42. So that's why this beige color that I showed you and that light taupe, I am very impressed that this 120 set has those two colors, because they're lovely light colors. Now I will tell you that Brutfuner have a fantastic pastel set, and that is the macarons. So you can just always use the separate set of the pastels in conjunction with this 120 set, and then your lights are taken care of, and then you just have to deal with what to do for your darks. I am back in with that darkest color. We have some shadow areas on this one, so let's work on that. So you can choose to do shadows as like a gray, depending on your set and what their options are. If you go dark enough in the color family, you know, like a really dark blue or a really dark green, you can just use the color family color to do. You can even use, you know, the complementary colors. You don't have to use a tone of that exact color to get your shadows, because that is not how it works in nature. Yeah, there's some crumbs happening. Shifting to the middle tone. So for me, I would love to be working with a darker green, but there isn't a darker green with this set to use. And we have some crumbs. Not many. Need to move to the lightest color. Oh, what's our time looking like? Oh, we're good. All right, I can just keep chugging away. So I am committing myself to a poll to see what you guys want to do. What would you would like to see as far as all of this leaf work? So we will see, and then I will also do for the background, if you guys want to have me draw the bricks, or if you're like, nope, I just want to see you color those bricks. I am going to go up. I'm going to do this one. I'm going to play with more of the shadows. So my friend up in North Carolina, just north of Asheville, did lose power early this morning. I haven't heard if she got her power back or not. I hope everyone is safe. The storm seemed to speed up. It went very quickly. Boy, I can remember other storms that, you know, we don't know. It's moving, it's crawling along very, very slow. And sometimes they've even slowed to a stop out there in the Gulf, spinning and not moving. Let's do the light. I was thinking of going back to the dark again, but so I am trying to do a little bit of white highlights, but not a lot. The small victories, round circles, I have been purposefully leaving a lot of highlights. And I'm going to, I might have to look at the set and see if there is a darker green of some variety for way deep underneath these layers. I think I'm gonna need it. It will help it to look more real. So I have to say, I'm seeing videos, because again, I love to watch my coloring videos, so it's making me get a craving to color a Kirby Rosanus image. I have colored one, and I own quite a few of his books. So if I don't want to color in the book itself, I can make a copy and do a coloring page coloring. And then the other thing, so these are all my non-video coloring activities. I have 2 fall pages now printed out. I do really love coloring fall images. It's probably my most, if I think about the seasons, I have one Christmas. It's actually Santa. And it is an R.J. Hampson. I did that with the Prismacolors. And I am getting a hankering to do some fall colors. So last night I printed some off, And then I got to thinking, I wonder when I'll be ready and feel like coloring in a Kirby book on video. When will that happen? So I have some ideas when that might occur. We are at 45 minutes. I think I'm going to do one more. I always say I am going to stop at 45, and here I go. I just want to feel like I accomplished more. Yep, so there will be a couple of polls for choices made on the big, which I love. I love to give you guys choices. I want to be doing as much as I can what you would like to see, because again, I just love it all. And having you guys decide helps me to not overthink it. Okay, that was the dark. And I do want this page to look bright, colorful, because it's already going to have a lot of brown. You know, it's predominantly brown with garden colors. I just went from the dark to the medium. This is the light, leaving a little bit of highlights. Need to come back and darken up. And we will call this session finished. Again, thank you all for joining me today. I appreciate you all. Do all the YouTube things, like, share, comment, consider subscribing. And tomorrow, again, we will be back to the small victories, coloring our last circle, and it will be done with the light fast pencils. Derwent Light Fast. I have all 100, so I will have the joy of matching those beautiful color combos for those flowers, and we will see what we can do. So I hope to see you all there.